Yes. Welcome. I want to use this opportunity to thank all my viewers and subscribers for the feedback that you gave me. I'm so grateful and encouragement. So today, uh, um, I'm continuing with episode number 4, titled "Pursuing Your Education Dream 1." So we'll be focusing on diplomas and bachelor degrees. This is Global Education and Career Management podcast series. I'm still Daniel Obi. So in today's episode number 4, so the presentation outline, we'll start with section 1, introduction, section 2, undergraduate pre-admission process, section 3, undergraduate admission process, section 4, undergraduate study permit visa process, section 5, departure and arrival. So let's get into it. So we'll start with section 1, and we'll start with recap of episode number 3. So the one of the key information we provided key information you need to have in order to be successful in both admission and study permit application. That's number 1. Then number 2, we 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 dealt with or we provided our viewers with overview of the average tuition fees, living expenses across the globe, including North America, Scandinavian countries, South America, Oceania, Europe, Asia, Middle East, and Africa. So then the third key point is we provided the working opportunities. Which countries that provide you the opportunity of working while studying? Which country that provides you with opportunity to work after studying? So you see it in episode 3. So please go back to listen to episode number 3. Then also we look at another key point, which is language. So you should know that most countries in the world, their national language is not English, though you could get English course of studies in most of the developed country. So for you to be uh, have the better opportunity of working while studying, it might be good to pay attention so that you can be learning their national language while studying. So today, in the introduction, we'll be looking at 4 important questions. Number 1 is what are the features of undergraduate education? Number 2, what are the importance of things to consider? Number 3, how to select appropriate undergraduate study. Then number 4, what do you what do you what do you bring to the table? So let's get into it. So let's start with the first. So let's address what are the features of undergraduate education. So we will concentrate on number 1, diplomas, which in North America is called associate degrees. Then number 2 is bachelor degrees. So these are the two important study programs under undergraduate education that we'll be considering. Then we'll be looking at the introduction continues. So the second question or issue we will address, what are the important things to consider? So the first is career opportunity. So you have to look at which country that will offer you career opportunities as somebody that did bachelor degrees or diploma. Also, the second point you have to consider is graduate school studies. Which country that you have the possibility of doing graduate studies after graduation. Then the another consideration is the funding. Is very important to that's why in episode number 3 we provided majority of the countries across the globe. So we provided the average tuition fees and living expenses. So for you to now cross check. So if you want to go to country A, you have to match the funding with the amount of funding available to you. Then also the language issues. These are very important, especially when you want to study in English. So it's always good to make sure that you learn their national language. Then you have to also check which country that will give you possibility of working after graduation, so that you have a legal status. Then also which country that will give you permanent residency after graduation, working for some years. So having done that, we will go to the next issue: how to select appropriate undergraduate studies. There are among the issues they have to look at is your high school subjects combination. So maybe if you want to study engineering, so in your high school you have to make sure that you study physics, mathematics, and some other subjects. So you have to make sure that your subject combination in high school is matches with the what you want to study. Then the second is bilateral agreements. In some countries like France signed a bilateral agreement with Quebec provincial government. So if you're a French citizen and you want to study in North America, if you come to Quebec, you pay a tuition fee that is very the same tuition fee like those from Quebec. Also, if you're from, let's say, Namibia, you want to go to Europe, if you go to a country like Germany, there is a special consideration. So always check the countries that have a bilateral agreement with your country. Then also another issue that you consider is public versus private universities. When you are trying to uh, go for undergraduate study, either diploma or first degree, if you are applying in public universities, it is likely to be more competitive, but the tuition fee of public universities tend to be cheaper than that of the private universities. So these are the things you check. And also private um, universities, the admissions are a little bit more relaxed compared to public universities. Again, so you look at the universities versus college. So when you're doing an undergraduate degree program in college, most colleges, especially in North America, may not have the possibility of graduate school. But in universities, if you're doing undergraduate, then you have the possibility. Universities offer graduate school, program. So you check. Now we'll look at the another issue. What are you bringing to the table? People that want to give you admission, you want them to give you admission. Okay, what are you bringing to the table? What do you think they are going to benefit if they consider your application? So number one is academic excellence, and that has to do with the degree of your result. Excellence. Are you excellent student? If you're excellent student, it puts you in a good position. Number two is skill set. Are you skillful? Especially, okay, let's say, can you do website? What other things that you can bring to the table? Then number three is sporting talent. So if you're very tall and you are fairly good in basketball, if you are applying, why not apply for universities in countries where basketball is their number one national sports? if you are good in soccer, why not apply to countries that soccer is their number one sport? You might get admission based on this factor. Then funding. Always make sure. Check. That's why go to episode number 3. Always check and make sure that the funding, the tuition fee, the living expenses is it is below that of your funding, available funding. These are the factors. So if you the more money you bring to table, the more chances you may get admission. Again, diversity. Sometimes, especially in the developed country, they are increasingly diversifying their student population. So diversity could be your country, developing country. It could be based on gender and so many other factors. So these are the things you should be able to consider while you'll be applying. So having then now when you've made up your mind to apply for undergraduate degree program, so we'll go to second stage, which is undergraduate pre-admission process. What are the things you need to bring or to prepare before you start your application process? There are 6 of them we'll be looking. Available degree options, assessing your preparedness, build your academic profile, potential evidence for academic excellence, other potential requirements, funding outlook. So we will start with available degree option. Like as we've said, we will concentrate on diploma programs, which in North America is called associate degree, precisely in US. So that takes the duration is between 1 to 2 years. Then or bachelor degrees, which what we call first degree, which is between 3 and 5 years. So the next question is how do you assess your preparedness as 16 to 20 years? So you have to look at are you mentally equipped at that tender age when you are leaving your family? Do you have the mentality to succeed in your education dream? Then again, are you emotionally matured, to deal with the loneliness, living in a different culture and environment? Then also number 3 is psychological, preparedness. Are you psychologically prepared to face challenges, failures, setbacks, and all that, and also to work on your education goals? Then cultural sensitivity. Are you culturally sensitive in the sense that for you to be successful, when you move to another society, another country, you have to be very, very aware of differences in the culture you are coming from and where you are? Then the next thing is that you have to take time to build your academic profile. These are part of what to uh, um, factor in their consideration. So the first thing you consider under building your academic profile is evidence of high school certificate. So do you have the evidence of high school certificate result? What is your result like? Are you an excellent student? B? Or so then the second thing you check is if you are in a country where you could have A level, then if you have the opportunity, do A level. So if you bring high school certificate and A level certificate, it could put you at advantage. Then also, if you have opportunity of doing a diploma in your country, then also is good. So these are the things that we expect you to prepared. Then we'll be looking at potential evidence for academic excellence. So the number 1 is language proficiency test. For English, the 2 most popular ones, there are others, IELTS, TOEFL. Then for French, DIP. There are other, we'll still see it later. So we advise people, especially if you are from a country that English is not your national language, then you need to submit this. You prepare, make sure you have a good score. Then go to episode number 2. You see how what the way we treated it. Then also a standardized test score. So if you don't have enough funding and you think you are smart, then you consider taking SAT and ACT. So this aptitude test rank candidates. So if you score a very high score, then you might likely get a scholarship. So these are what you call standardized international exam that rank students. So now, what are other potential requirements? Other potential requirements you have to prepare statement of motivation or purpose. Is very important. The content of it include why do you want to study in that university? Why do you want to study that particular course? What motivates you? Why do you want to leave your country? Then reference. So you need to prepare referees. You should have about 3 or 2 referees, depending on the number the university may want. But normally, it's always about 3. 2 of them should be people that have taught you, maybe in secondary school or A level. Then one of them should be somebody that can attest to your character. Then again, diploma certificate. So if you have a diploma certificate from your own country, when you add it, especially if you are looking to have to get admission in public Ivy League university, so it could be an added advantage. Then also we will be looking at funding outlook as part of pre-admission process. So seed funding. So seed funding include the cost of writing this exam, and this one. Also, seed fund include the cost of um, paying the what you call university application fee, the cost of other things that you need to submit your documents. Then also it also include tuition fees and other auxiliary fees. So the question is always what is the average tuition fee in a country you want to go and study. Then you compare it with what you have. Then also the living expenses. So you have to look at the average living expenses so that you know, can you afford it every month. Go to episode number 3 so you check all the countries. So we will be looking at uh, undergraduate admission process. So when you are now set to apply. So the first thing we'll be looking at under this section, Bachelor Degree Admission Application Overview. So we want to let you know what it will entail so that you can do it yourself. Number 1 is the general requirement. Number 2 is overview of the differences between diploma and bachelor. Then the undergraduate application stages. So we'll start with the general requirement. So the first is undergraduate application form. So each universities have their own undergraduate application form. So it's always in their website. So most of the time you have to use online. Before you can use offline. You download it, fill it and send. But now most of the thing is online. Then also part of general requirement is you have to provide academic certifications. What is your highest academic qualifications? Either you have high school certificate, A level, diploma, depending which one that is applicable to you. Then also, especially in Ivy League schools, competitive universities, so they may require you to show evidence of language proficiency like IELTS, TOEFL. For French, you have ITEP, PTE, DLF. For those that want to go and study in France and Belgium and probably in Quebec, like Université de Montréal, University de Quebec, and so forth. Also, if you want to be considered for a scholarship, you need to take this standardized test score for undergraduate studies so that they will know whether to rank you with others that are applying with you. So either you take SAT or ACT. Now, you need also application fees. So normally we advise to apply for 2 to 3 universities so that at least one might consider you. For colleges, we advise 1 or 2. Okay, so average budget $100 for application fee, so you can pay one university. Some are cheaper than this, some may be higher, but we'll just give average. Then you need additional documents, which include international passport page. You must have passport before you start application. Then also you need to prepare statement of purpose. You need 2 to 3 referees. That's a general requirement. Then the next thing is that what is the difference between a diploma and bachelor? So in terms of diploma, we just included A level for in case those that want to go to UK or Singapore, you can do A level if you want to study medicine or engineering, and also to have advantage over those with high school certificate. So you could see in terms of um, is between 2 to 3 years. The duration of associate degree, that of bachelor, between 3 to 6, depending the course you want to study. These are the prerequisites. And for, I've already mentioned the standardized test and the language test. So the undergraduate application stages. So we want to take you step by step application if you want to do it by yourself. So step number 1, you see, read the instructions. Let me repeat it again. Read the instructions. It's very, very important that you read instructions. Take time to study it. Then step number 2, make a checklist. So generally, universities always have a checklist of documents they expect you to submit. But if they don't have a checklist, it's always included in their instructions. So as you are reading it, prepare the checklist by yourself. Then thereafter, you use online application to open account with the university. So you have your username and password. So when you are done with that, you move to step number 4. Before you start filling any form, prepare your supporting documents. Based on the checklist in step 2, then you can now put all your supporting document. Make sure that they're in PDF format: certificate, test score, statement of motivation, and cover letter. Then step number 5, we advise you have to prepare academic CV. In the subsequent episode, we'll talk extensively on that. So the academic CV will include all the information you need to do the online application, so that each question they ask you, you just copy and paste, so that you don't want to waste time. Then step number 6, fill the online application form. So when you, after step 5, you go back to step 3, you use your username and password, always write it somewhere. Then you log in again. Then you start filling the application form by using academic CV. So when you are done filling, then you upload the supporting documents. Use the checklist to make sure that all the documents they expected you uploaded them. Then when you are through with step number 7, then step number 8 is pay the application fee. In most cases, you may need a credit card. Then when you are done, step number 9, print the evidence of the payment. So these are step by, if you follow these 9 steps, you are good, and you will get everything you need. So now, assuming that after submitting your application, maybe it may take 2 months to 3 months before they will take a decision. Sometimes it could reach 7 months. And assuming you are successful, you are lucky, and you obtain admission, what do you do? So first, we have to applaud you. So now, when you offer the admission, so you now have your admission letter in your hand, then we'll come to section number 4, study permit and visa process. So the first thing you do is, especially for undergraduate study permit and visa, process, is it the admission? Is it for diploma or bachelor degree? So what are the general study permit and visa application requirements? So who submits your online application? Then after submitting it, you wait for, maybe depending on the country, it takes another 3 months for sometimes 4 months for the embassy or the high commission to make a decision or a determination on your application. So let's start with, if you are how do you apply for undergraduate study permit if it's diploma? So if it's a diploma, so the study permit is likely to be between 1 and 2 years. For bachelor degree, 3 to 6. So the first thing is that make sure that your international passport, the duration of the validity of your international passport should be more than the duration of the study permit. So if you're applying for this, your international passport duration must be minimum of 3 years. If this one, minimum of 5 years. Also, if number 2 important thing is, make sure if you are applying for visa, always multiple. So the idea of including multiple is that, so that when you go, you can, if you want to visit your parents or you travel, you don't need to start applying for visa again, because study permit doesn't allow you to come in if you go out. So now, what are the general requirements? So if you're applying for study permit, what are the general requirements? So we pick it. First and foremost, please, you go to the embassies or high commission's website, you read the instruction guide. It's very important. Take time to read the instruction. Then when you are done, most of the embassies, they have a checklist of what they require from you. If they don't have a checklist, then prepare the checklist. Use this document number 1, number 2, number 3. Write them out. Then when you finish, remember, you've already prepared the academic CV. You still use the academic CV to fill the application forms. Then after filling the application forms, you have to upload them. These are some of the supporting documents. It may not be all, but most likely these are admission letter, your highest academic qualification, if you language test score if you have it, standardized test if you have it, then photocopy of international passport, cover letter, letter of introduction, then proof of fund. In proof of fund, so your sponsor, if it's your parents or a company or your country, so you need to provide this the bank statement that shows that they have enough fund. Now if you have your own bank statement, your account, you provide yours to show them that you have some level of account. Then if you have scholarship, include the scholarship award letter. In some countries like Germany, what they need is you have to open an account with German bank, and you move fund based on the amount of money that the government had already determined that you'll be spending for 1 year. You move that money, then the bank will give you evidence of that block fund. They call it block fund. That's what you need. Then you need to pay for visa application or study permit application. In that case, you may use credit card or bank deposit, because the embassy is in your country. So, assuming that after your application, the question, so who submits your application is very important. So you do it yourself, you follow our guidance. So the essence of taking time to explain this is to help people do it. So you can follow the steps already mentioned. Then someone or you pay for the application fee. Then the other thing is that you can use an agent or a consultant to do it for you. But in that case, you have to gather the supporting documents and also follow the agent's instruction. But make sure you sign a contract. Then also make sure that you discuss, in the case of a denier, what percentage of your money will you recover? Is very important. Okay, so now when you submit, either you submit your study permit application or an agent does it for you. After 2 months, 3 months, or 4 months, the embassy will come back with a decision. There are two options. The first option is favorable decision. Okay, if your study permit application is granted, then we will say we will apply for you. So the first thing is you have to inform the school immediately. Then make flight reservation. We always advise buy traveling insurance. Then when you inform the school, ask them whether they have the possibility of picking you from the airport if you don't know anybody. So the question, who picks you at the airport? Then the second option is unfavorable decision. Yes, as you plan for success, plan for failure. So if there is unfavorable decision, most embassies will write you a letter to, they will state reasons, either one or two, depending why they deny you the study permit. So the first thing is that study the reasons for visa denial. Is very important. What are their reasons? The second step is, can you address the reasons? If you can address the stated reasons, then the third step is, if yes, you can reapply. So then, once assuming that you have a favorable outcome, you have a study permit, the first thing is that you contact the school. Oh, that you've got a study permit, you are set to go. So you go back and inform them. So when you inform them, then confirm your flight ticket reservation and forward it to the school, especially your advisor. Then so that they will now say, okay, whether they are going to pick you at the airport or not. Then buy traveling health insurance. It's very important in case of emergency. It's not compulsory. Most people don't do that, but it's your choice. Make arrangement for accommodation on arrival. Talk with the school advisor with the possibility whether they are going to provide temporary accommodation for you, because you need. Then check seasonal weather you will face on arrival. Is it winter? Is it fall? What is the code? So that you'll be able to go with appropriate clothing. Then find a community or association or a mentor to affiliate with. Make sure that when you get to the country, find a community, find association or affiliate in that so that you'll be able, people that can attest for you in case if you have a problem, you know. Then finally, we will look at the summary of episode number 4. What we learned from episode number 4, we discuss undergraduate programs opportunities in form of either you go for diploma or bachelor degrees. Then we also discuss the entire process. We'll classify the entire process into 3 processes: pre-admission processes, admission, and study permit processes. We'll also discuss about pre-admission process, which involve obtaining supporting documents and taking examination that are required. In other words, you do your due diligence. We always advise people, this pre-admission processes will take you minimum of 6 months to prepare for it. Then number 4, I'm sorry, please. We discuss the difference between the diploma and bachelor degree programs. We discussed the general admission requirements for each, and we took you step-by-step application for you to do it yourself. Then we also looked at the study permit visa is the last hurdle that stands between you and your educational goal. That you have study permit in a country does not guarantee that you are going to have a study permit. So these are 2 different processes. And the documents required are stated. So we stated the document required, and A step-by-step online application process are explained. Okay, so we will be able to say thank you so much for listening to us, and you can get back to us or get to us through this email for globalmentors@gmail.com. And also, please kindly check the next episode number 5. We'll be looking at pursuing your education dream too. So we'll be focusing on postgraduate diplomas and master's degrees. So please check out for episode number